programs that basically take at-risk people and help them have alternatives. Well, those programs are all on the county and city budget chopping blocks. Those programs are at risk, which is part of the reason why they think they need a new jail. There's pretty good evidence that the city is looking at a contract with the INS to be able to rent some of the jail space that this new capacity they have. So there's some dough in it for them. There's a lot of institutional momentum. They've been planning this since '99. A lot of money at stake. But when you look at it, you can see really a vision of the future. And this is how I'm going to close, because someone just took my head anyway, babbling too long. But think of this in terms of two visions of the future of Seattle. Now here we are. We are in the final days of a decaying empire, and the economy is going to hell. There isn't money for social services. 7 minutes left. Oh hell, I got lots of time. Less and less money for social services, facing deficits at all levels of government. Education system needs a lot of work. The social supports that are available for people are minimal and being slashed. And inequality has been steadily increasing for more than 30 years, and those rates of inequality are accelerating. And in Seattle, it's on steroids. Seattle, all cities are reinventing themselves in the global economy as places for upscale urban living for those who can afford it, and sort of centers of glitzy consumption and cultural consumption. And if you look in that, the perfect illustration of it is in that sort of 4-block area by Pike Place Market, down by the new Symphony Hall and the expanded art museum that the city just spent $25 million on. There are 4 condo high-rises going up in that area with a total of 505 units between them, average value of $2.2 million. There are 49 condo buildings under construction in downtown Seattle. Seattle is going very, very, like what is an upscale city, is becoming a city for the very affluent, and visible poverty is a big problem, and hence you've seen a big crackdown on visible poverty. Mayor Nichols' brutal homeless sweeps, other sorts of criminalization strategies aimed at communities of color primarily. And you can see a vision of the future of decaying infrastructure, growing inequality, less money for human services, people being thrown to the wolves, and bodies being fodder for an expanding incarceration system. At this point, according to the Department of Justice's own statistics, 1 in 99 Americans are behind bars. We're 30% ahead of China as the next closest contender for Gulag State. In terms of people, men who are between 20 and 24, 1 in 30 is in prison, and if you're African American, that's 1 in 9. If you're, and that's 1 in 9 if you're African American, and if you are an African American high school dropout, you have a 2 in 3 chance of winding up in prison by the time you're 35. That's insane. So that's one vision of the future, of that getting worse. And it's a kind of a build it and they will come sort of thing. If they build this new jail in the downtown, the assumption is going to be that they're going to fill it with bodies. They're going to have the incentive to fill it with bodies, and they will. So another vision is one where we understand how all of these issues are connected. We understand how homelessness connects to incarceration. We understand how homelessness and incarceration connect to the racialization of poverty. Bruce Western, he's a guy at the Kennedy School. He's done some really strong research that shows the downward spiral that is created by incarceration, and particularly how that affects African American communities, because once you've been incarcerated, your earning potential drops by 16%. And the wage growth, the potential for wage growth that you have deflates by 39%. So it's like reduced economic opportunity leads to underground economic activity, which leads to prison, which leads to reduced economic opportunity, which leads back to prison. It's this downward spiral. And we need to get off of that downward spiral, commit to another direction. And that's a direction where we are investing in people rather than writing them off as some kind of toxic waste that has to be put away from the rest of us, where we don't have to see it and worry about it and pretend that it doesn't exist. The Seattle Municipal Jail, I think, should be the kind of racial and economic and social justice issue that we can form a very, very big tent around. And there is already a neighborhood-based opposition to the new jail, because of course nobody wants it in their neighborhood. And to the extent that they've been able to unite on a position, that unity has been in the form of, well, don't put it in our neighborhood, but put it downtown in a high-rise, and then it would be okay. And I think that there is a very strong potential, not the whole neighborhood opposition to the jails, but a good part of it. I think that and I've had conversations that make me believe this is true. I think that there's a really strong potential is that if there was a broad movement based on principles of racial, economic, and social justice to oppose this jail, that we would be able to bring a lot of the neighborhood opposition that already exists along with it and move that sort of NIMBY base of opposition to a higher plane of moral principle and be united on this. So I'm done. I'm out of here. My kids are going home. So I'm at Real Change. We're easy to get hold of. We're on the web, realchangenews.org. I'm going to shamelessly plug my blog. I have a blog. It's called Apesma's Lament at Blogspot. Just Google Tim Harris blog, and if it's some other idiot named Tim Harris, ignore it and look for something named Apesma's Lament. And there's lots of good stuff there too. So yeah, if you're interested, get in touch. We're all about building allies around this issue. We're building a campaign. Thank you.